This video will be on statistics specifically dealing with graphical representation of data. First of all, we'll be encountering the circle graph, which is also called the pie graph. So you can see that each slice of the pie represents a certain input of the data, and you can see that the largest size of the pie means that more of it belongs to that specific data type. Instead of the circle graph, sometimes we use the bar graph. The bar graph gives much more of a relative height. The sizes, especially when there's a lot of slices in the pie, make it sometimes difficult to see if one slice is bigger than the other. With bar graphs, you can see very quickly which ones have the greatest height, and therefore the greatest representation in the data set. We'll also encounter dot plots, which are very handy when you have a random set of data that you want to graph quickly. We'll talk about the stem and leaf displays, which have some interesting aspects to them as well. We'll also talk about the frequency histogram. A lot of times people get confused between the difference between bar graphs and histograms. Typically, bar graphs are associated with specific data sets. For example, if you have the number of types of cars, there's only one type of car of that type, and so you want to then see how many you have of each type. Where in a histogram, you typically talk about data over a range. So anything between 40 and 60 fits in this data type, between 80 and 100 fits in this data type. Also, sometimes we have histograms, but we talk about them in terms of relative frequency histograms where the total number altogether adds up to 100%. So in other words, it gives you a fraction or percentage of the total for each of the data representations. And then sometimes we have what we call an ogive, where we have the accumulated percentage of the total from 0 all the way to 100. As you can see, there's lots of different ways in which we can represent data, and each type has its strengths and weaknesses in that it will give you more information in one way and maybe less in another way. Thank you for watching.